What's up, everybody? Coach Doyle here. 15-4 Strategery and Plamageddon. I'm super excited about this workout. It is by far my favorite CrossFit Open WOD ever. Why? Because it's the first real new workout we've done in about 3 or 4 years. So for me, planning for this is relatively fun. We're in some uncharted territories here and sort of movements in the open, and I'm really excited to see it happen. The workout is an 8-minute AMRAP of ascending reps of handstand push-ups and ascending reps in cleans. Now, they ascend at different paces, and that's a real important part. The rep scheme for the handstand push-ups goes up 3 repetitions each set, okay? The cleans go up 3 repetitions every 3rd set, okay? So it's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, etc. handstand push-ups. And for the first 3 sets of handstand push-ups, you're going to pair it with 3 cleans. So 3, 3, 6, 3, 9, 3, and then 12, 6, 15, 6, 18, 6, then 21, 9, etc., etc., etc. The cleans for RX athletes are done at 185 and 125. What is this workout about? What are the major factors we need to talk about here? Hello, handstand push-ups, okay? Handstand push-ups have been a CrossFit staple since day 1 in CrossFit, and the new standard changes everything. There were lots of ways to cheat and sort of utilize the previous standard that made it much easier for people with specific types of anatomical builds to be successful in that movement versus others, and they have rectified that. You're going to hear a lot of sort of haters in the virtual world talking about how it's an impossible standard, etc., etc., etc. Frankly, it's one of the best things CrossFit's done in a long time. They've taken a movement that was primarily an advantage to shorter people and made it even across the board. That was something that was clear last night in the announcement when Scott Panchik, who's a bigger, taller, heavier athlete, beat Josh Bridges, who is basically one of the top 10 handstand push-uppers ever. But the reason that happened is because the standard changed. Okay, the standard changed, and Scott Panchik was used to training closer to that original standard because of his size and height. All right, Josh Bridges was used to not doing them necessarily virtuously, as opposed to doing whatever he had to in the competition standard. So, this is me loving the new standard. It's kind of creepy. It's really creepy, but I'm a weightlifting coach, not an artist, but I heart these handstand push-ups and the tape. This represents the tape that your feet has to pass. I'm so excited about this. Okay? And what they've done is they have taken the handstand push-up and turned it into an inverted body weight jerk to a target, which you cannot see. That makes it hard. Okay? Your setup will be your most important piece to this. Alright? If you are doing this workout RX, you will find that placing your head and hands in the same place every time will determine the outcome of your ability to even begin to be successful here. Okay, we're going to get into how you do your handstand push-ups and all that other jazz later, but you have to make sure that when you are setting up, okay, we will help you make sure that amidst the chalk piles that will exist while we do this workout, you have a way to indicate to yourself what your targets are for your hands and your head so that you can continue to move well, okay? It's creepy. Technical considerations. Handstand push-up proficiency. Remember, this workout is about handstand push-ups and the new standard. If you have been dogging your technique, okay, during training, that's over, because this is the new standard for the Open. This means it's the new standard for regionals. It means it's the new standard for the games. It means it's the new standard for training, okay? So this is one of those things with CrossFit where are you prepared to adapt something to a slightly different scenario because of your training, right? It's a prepared for anything, unknown and unknowable portion, and it seems like a little slight change, but that is going to be the biggest change people are unexpectedly going to be influenced by, all right? Proficiency. Like I said, we're gonna hands and head, same place, but we're gonna make sure that you set up a little closer to the wall than you're used to. That's gonna help you have a nice vertical angle for your kip, okay? You will be kipping all of these, everyone. If you're doing these and you've been training them in practice and you're not like PRing your handstand push-up by getting your first one ever in the open WOD, okay? And that may be strict just because of the technicality of it. For those who are familiar with the handstand push-up, you guys are gonna kip it real good, all right? Like salt and pepper, right? Kip it real good. Never mind. Number 3, you're going to get your head through. Bang, okay? What you saw last night for Josh Bridges is he had a tendency to stare at the ground, which had him here, okay? The reason we want you here is because it allows your shoulder another 2 to 4 inches of extension. And if you've been training, 2 to 4 inches of extension is valuable. That could be a dirty joke. We're not going to do a dirty joke. But 2 to 4 inches is a lot for handstand push-ups. Dorsiflexion. When we warm up and we do our dead bugs, we bring our toes towards our shins. When you're doing your handstand push-up and you're finishing it, you want to make sure you're dorsiflexing so that when the judge is staring at your tape and they see your foot passing the tape, it's not your toe above the line, we're going to see your heel above the line. And you want to make sure that your heel is the highest point on your foot so that there's no question about whether or not you're fulfilling the standard for the movement. All right, cleans. If you train at CrossFit Hartford, you know how to do cleans. Just saying. Okay? So let's make them pretty. And I'm going to recommend power cleans. Unless this is 80% of your max or more. And then this workout tends to get a little different because we're just going to scream at you while you do cleans for 8 minutes. Okay? And if your max indicates that this is approximately 60 to 70% of what you can handle, up until about the 9s, I'm going to recommend that you do touch and goes. Most of the people here who are in the competitive side of things have been training touch and goes, and some of you RX athletes in classes have been training them. All right, so touch and goes are recommended. If you're going to do singles every time, ain't nobody got time for that, okay? This is a new workout that should be about handstand push-ups. If you're doing heavy singles and dropping every time, like I said, we're going to yell at you for 8 minutes while you do heavy cleans. Other than that, you don't have the ability to do individual singles without wasting a tremendous amount of time when all of the rest that you take in this workout should be primarily occurring during the handstand push-up time. Plain and simple. No rest, all rest. Handstand push-ups is where you rest here, okay? We're going to get into the pacing stuff next, and then we're also going to add some movement standard pieces at the end, and I'll see you in the next piece. Okay, now we're going to talk about some of the pacing for this 8-minute AMRAP. The thing that I'm going to say is, right off the bat, this is a great question. We're going to find a lot out while people take their first shot at this. You saw 2 very distinct outcomes last night, Scott Panchek versus Jeff Bridges. Jeff Bridges got no rep like a MFer, so we want to look towards Panchek for what he did. Panchek did not do touch and go cleans. He did repeated singles over and over and over again. I don't necessarily think that that was a determining factor for him when you analyze the breakdown of what actually happened and what the pacing issues were. I recommend touch and go cleans unless this weight is more than 80% of your max through the first 3 rounds, okay? Once you get through the first 3 rounds, once we start to see what the fatigue is doing to you, I recommend, if this is not close to 60% of your max, you're going to want to break these up into 2 sets of triples or just singles from the top. And remember, if you're going to drop each time, you have to stay with the bar so that it doesn't bounce around and you don't allow yourself to rest time when there's not time to rest. One of the biggest issues that happens when people do singles with the barbells in workouts is they use their head as their mind as a sort of running clock as opposed to the clock that's on the wall in front of them with the giant red numbers that's counting. And what happens then is they listen to their brain, which is lying to you during workouts, and you end up standing there resting unnecessarily, okay? So if you're going to drop, make sure you're not resting between reps and you're attacking these as hard as you can. All of your rest in this workout, all of it, should happen during the handstand push-up portion, okay, which I'm going to talk about now. Handstand push-ups. Break early, break often, and never go to failure, ever, okay? If you go to failure in your handstand push-ups, I now know that you are probably in your last round of that 8-minute workout, all right? Because once you fail in handstand push-ups due to fatigue, anybody who has done workouts with higher up handstand push-ups in it know that that is undoubtedly the end. For those of you who did the chest-to-bar pull-up WOD, you know that once you miss a chest-to-bar pull-up, when you're giving it everything you can, it's almost impossible to get that back until you stood there and waited longer than you're comfortable with in the open. Handstand push-ups are twice as hard to recover from. It takes way longer, and it's not nearly as physically exhausting, so it's sort of a very frustrating thing. All right? Suggestions. All right? If your max effort set of handstand push-ups is more than 20 reps, okay, I recommend you go unbroken on the 3s, the 6s, and the 9s, okay? What does that mean? You're going unbroken 3 handstand push-ups, unbroken 3 cleans. Unbroken 6 handstand push-ups, unbroken 3 cleans. Unbroken 9 handstand push-ups, unbroken 9 cleans, okay? What that means now is you have now done 18 handstand push-ups and 9 cleans, all right? That's 27 repetitions unbroken, okay? We're not going to know a lot about how this is going to affect you as an individual athlete until you're through that first set, for those of you who are going unbroken there, all right? If you're, like I said, if you're above 20, you're going to go 8, then 4. In the 12s, you're going to go 15, for the 15s, you're going to go 8, then 7. For the 18s, I recommend 6, 6, 6, okay? And for the 21s, I don't know. I mean, I really have no idea. It's sort of no man's land, all right? But when it comes to the pacing, you do not want to rush these unbroken sets of handstand push-ups. You want to do them. You want to rest on your head in the bottom of your kip with your knees down and in a good position, ready to go. Okay? If we can take anything from last night's announcement away, we can take what Scott Panchik did that made him exponentially more successful than Josh Bridges. Josh Bridges actually did more repetitions in that workout, right? Which means he may have been fitter, but he could not hit the technical standard for the movement. All right? And we are going to work really, really hard this week especially to make the standards for this handstand push-up workout very, very strict. Okay? This is sort of the CrossFit HQ's way of saying to people, listen, integrity in judging and scoring matters. We're going to put a standard here, and then we're going to put it into the community to make sure you guys uphold what we believe is a virtuous standard. Okay? So make sure you watch the judging video. Make sure you understand what a rep and a no rep is, and then we're going to work hard here to make sure everybody's very, very clear on the standard. All right? So if you're under 20, okay, I recommend breaking into 6s. Never do more than 3 at a time. There's no reason to, okay? It is better to do 3 at a time and then move to doubles, okay, the sooner than later. Because if you can't do more than 15, okay, or less than 20, let's say less than 20, you're going to run into failure somewhere between the 6s and the 9s, all right? And then once you're at max effort, once you're failing, it's just an emotional desperation for reps, okay? And as an athlete, you never want to be in that state, right? You never want to be in that state. That's a tough road, okay? So that's the plan. We're going to add another portion at the end of this where we sort of go through the standard and what the setup's like, and I'll see you during that part.